The following contains descriptions of physical violence, sexual violence, and graphic descriptions of autopsies.
Hey listeners, welcome to episode 76 of TGIC Podcast. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Izzy.
Okay, so quick little announcement today. We're kind of soft launching our merch line right now. So if you go check out the link in our bio, it'll be linked on our website. You can go check out some of the merch that we're offering right now. Izzy worked really hard on all the designs. They're super cool.
I hope you guys like them. And we're wearing them right now.
Yeah, we are. We're decked out in our TGIC
wearing
merch.
our hoodies, and they're so soft and so comfy, and they hoodie.
Yeah, they hoodie.
If
you guys want to twin with us too, we currently are wearing the, what do they say?
Just two gals.
Yeah, just two gals talking about true crime sweatshirt. So if you want to twin with us, get those in black. They're super cool. But yeah, so just a quick little announcement about that. That's going to be linked on all of our socials and everything. But yeah, you should definitely check that out because Izzy worked really hard on them and they're super cool.
And they're so comfortable. Like, all the t-shirts, like, the graphics on them are soft.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like, everything is comfortable and good quality and reasonable prices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're excited. We want to share that with you guys.
Yeah. Okay, so today we'll be covering two different dough cases, which is kind of similar to an episode we did a while back. But I'm going to present a dough case, and then Izzy's going to present one. And yeah, that's just how the episode's going to work. So today we're going to be talking about the murders of Christmas dough and the Wych Elm dough. Okay, so the Christmas dough case. On December 21st of 1988, a truck driver driving through Millwood, Georgia, saw an old TV console off the side of the road. So he pulled over to take a look at this, which is kind of funny because honestly, if I was driving and I saw a TV console, I would have not stopped.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Like, that's not for me, I guess. I don't know. Like, do you ever drive by things and like think it could be a dead body, but like, oh, you didn't stop?
All the time. Like, I literally, because it's so easy to be a like podcaster and be like, oh my god, and nobody like realized that this trash bag on the side of the road had a body in it. Like, how can you be so dumb and like see that and just drive past it and not say anything?
But like, I never stop.
No, I never stop. There have been so many times where I've been driving and there's like a suspiciously like shaped trash bag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
So I just would have never stopped for even like a TV console. That's like not even sketchy. Like, people leave old furniture out on the sidewalk. I mean, maybe this guy like wanted a TV console, so he was gonna take it, but like I never stop for old furniture. Like, it's just there sometimes.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know. But also, this might be like a really rural area, so maybe having furniture just out on the street was like really bizarre.
Yeah, or bizarre, yeah. Not normal.
Like, maybe that just like really stuck out because it's like really naturey. Anyway, so he pulls over to look at it and he finds a black suitcase stuffed inside of it, which is like really sketchy.
No.
So the suitcase was also sealed with cement.
Oh. What?
Did you have
how is it sealed with cement? That's my question. Like, how?
Okay, so it wasn't like well sealed. It was like really messily, but like, you know, like where like the zippers and stuff would be, it was like cemented. Yeah, so it's like pretty closed. But somehow he opens it, which I was a little confused about because.
But I mean, if you saw a cemented suitcase, would you open it? I would.
I wouldn't know how. I feel like if it's cemented, it must be closed pretty good.
But, like, cement is pretty brittle. That's why I'm confused. Like, when I first, like, to be clear, both of us haven't really read each other's cases for this episode. Like, but when I first saw cemented suitcase, I was thinking it was filled with cement.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was cemented closed. Yeah, it was
that makes sense.
Closed. So he opens it up, and inside is a blanket-wrapped, decomposing body of a young girl. Which is, like, there was a lot happening there. Like, he had to, like, open a lot of things to get to this little girl. So he goes back to his truck and reports what he found to police. And police come to the scene, they start investigating, and they determine that she's been dead for about a month or two.
Aww.
She was only 2 feet tall, 9 inches, and she was they estimated about 3 years old. So they ruled her death a homicide, but, like, by undetermined means, which I find really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't stabbed or shot, which is, like, the obvious ones, but, like, they weren't able to determine I don't know, I think that's weird they weren't able to determine her cause of death.
That's kind of like my case, actually, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that is so strange. Like, I understand, like, obviously, like, you can figure out if she wasn't stabbed or shot, and, like, those are obvious, but, like, how do you not know that she choked or, like, was poisoned.
I mean, I will say, it is, like, suspicious that, like, they cemented it closed. Like, I guess that's how they knew it was foul play.
Yeah.
Obviously. But, like...
But, like, how do they not... Like, I feel like you can tell if someone was poisoned or not. Or, like, can't you tell if someone, like choked?
Maybe because of decomp.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that, like, undetermined means before.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So... The investigation starts, but for over 40 years, the identity of... Well, they nicknamed her Christmas Doe, by the way. I don't know if you've pieced that together, because it was right before Christmas. But for over 40 years, her identity was a mystery.
No.
Investigators went around the local area, like, they went door to door asking if anyone knew her, and searched missing persons databases. That sounds like it should be the word, doesn't it? Databases? I guess it's like...
databases?
Databases make sense, but databases.
Yeah, databases make sense, databases make sense.
Yeah, but it's not databases.
But it's not.
Databases, but they never found any leads. In 2019, the GBI began working with a genealogy company to help identify unknown victims through their genetics. So from this, they were able to determine that Christmas Doe was most likely from Albany, Georgia, which is about 2 hours away from Millwood, where she was discovered. I think that, like, the genetic stuff like that is so crazy.
It's so interesting.
Every time I hear about that, like, they're like, oh, from, like, her dental, like, her teeth in, like, the water, they were able to figure out, like, she was
what
from...
county or whatever.
Like, I think that's insane.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
Isn't that crazy? I don't know. I don't know why that, like, blows my mind so much. Maybe it's because I'm not a science person, so I don't know any of that stuff, but, like, it, like, literally blows my mind that you can, like, figure out stuff like that.
Yeah, and, like, they even look down to, like, this isn't about genetics, but, like, they look at the, like... dirt that's on their clothing, the dirt that's on the suitcase, sand, like, everything.
All that stuff, and it, like, can be traced. And I think that is so crazy. I don't know. But the one about, like being able to tell where a person is from by certain things is insane. Like, I don't know. I am fascinated. Anyway, in 2022, which is, like, you know, this happened in 1988, so this is, like, years and years later. This is, like, 44 years later, if I did the math. No.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the right math. I think it's 32. No, 34. God, I'm really bad at math. Is it 34?
1988 to 1990, so that's 12 years, 12... It's 34 years.
Okay, so I shouldn't have tried to do math on the podcast, apparently.
Watch me be wrong.
I think 34 is right. That's what I said when I thought about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so 34 years later, in 2022, a news report for the anniversary of her death comes out. So this actually prompts someone to contact police because they believe that they actually recognized Christmas Doe as someone they knew as a child. Ooh. Which I think is crazy, because can you imagine how scary that is? You're watching a news report and you're, like, vaguely think that she looks like, you know how you had just, like, friends as kids that you, like, don't know what the fuck happened to them?
Yeah.
Like, imagine seeing that person for you on a news report, that they died 40 years ago.
That would be crazy. You're like, oh, like, yeah, I was friends with her, and then all of a sudden, like, I just never saw her again.
I mean, like, I definitely have, like, friends like that from elementary school that, like they just kind of disappeared one day. Do you have those? Or is this, like, a me thing?
No,
okay.
I do.
Okay, because I, like, had this, like, person that I, like, can think of off the top of my head that we were really close friends, and then she just, like, I don't know what happened to her.
Did she go to elementary school with us?
Yeah. We're probably thinking of the same person.
Yeah.
We'll discuss later. But I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure her school district changed or something, but, like, that's
so
about all
weird.
I know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that, like, this is, like, a thing. But, like, this girl basically recognized her as someone, like, that her person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she contacts the police, and this actually, like, leads to her identification.
That's
like,
insane.
This was enough information for them to go off of, which was crazy. And they were right about her being from Albany, Georgia, and they were able to identify her as Kenyatta Odom, and she was actually 5 years old, so she was a little bit older than they thought she was originally. After she was identified, police believed that her mother, Evelyn, and her then boyfriend, I'm not really sure how to say that. Can you... Olister Sanders were responsible for killing Kenyatta. So after further investigation, they discovered that they killed Kenyatta when she was only 5 years old by putting her in boiling hot water, which caused her serious injuries to her legs and then killed her. That's, like, awful.
I have nothing to say. Like, that's, oh my God.
Yeah, this case took such, like, obviously it was dark from the start, but, like, that, like, I've never heard of that manner of death before.
No.
Yeah, it's awful. Like,
I've
I've never heard of that before. And then once she had died, they encased her body in a cemented suitcase, which they then put in that TV console and dumped on the side of the road 2 hours from their house.
Oh my God, okay.
So they told everyone they knew that Kenyatta had gone to live with her father, and I guess no one questioned it. A lot of people, in, like, hindsight, like, the girl who, like, reported it said that they had, like, thought it was suspicious that she had gone to live with her father, but, like, no one actually, like,
questioned it.
Yeah. So, like, they just thought it was a little strange, I guess.
Mm.
They've actually, like, to this day never been able to identify who her father is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so, like, that story, like, is totally, like, there was no father in the picture.
Yeah.
On November 1st of 2023, which is it's like about a year ago now, a grand jury indicted them on the charges of felony murder of Kenyatta, first-degree cruelty to children, aggravated battery, concealing the death of Kenyatta, and conspiring to conceal her death. And they were arrested a week later.
Good.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I'm so glad that they discovered who she was and now that she is justice. But
I can't believe it, like, 34, like, years until someone, like, put in a tip. And all it took was this person being like, I think I used to know her as a kid.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think that's insane.
Like, wild. Okay. So now, we're going to talk about Bella in the Wych Elm.
I'm, like, really intrigued by this.
So, I've been fascinated by this case for a while because I saw an episode on BuzzFeed Unsolved about it, like, years ago, and I was just so interested by it.
This is an old case.
Yeah, it's old. So, on April 18th of 1943, 4 young boys were partaking in an activity called bird nesting in Hagley Wood, which is part of the Hagley Estate near Witchbury Hill. That does not sound real.
That was
sounds
a
like
lot
from
of
a book.
Yeah, that was a lot of fairy tale words.
And this is in Worcestershire, England. I'm so sorry if that is incorrect pronunciation.
That sounded pretty good.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I think that was pretty good.
Okay. So while tromping through the forest, the boys, who are named...
Did you just say tromping?
Yes. Robert Hart, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne came across a wych elm, which is a type of tree. Since they were scouting for birds' nests and hoped to get some bird eggs for their next meal, one of the boys named Bob decided to climb the wych elm to see if he could find any. When Bob climbed the tree, he looked down and he was shocked when he saw a skull in the hollowed trunk of the tree.
Oh my God.
Yeah. At first, the boys thought it was an animal skull. However, because of the crooked teeth, remaining hair, and signs of rotting flesh, they realized that it was, in fact, human.
Oh my God, talk about traumatizing.
Yeah, and it was like a full skeleton.
That's
like, there were
horrifying.
only a few bones missing. Since the boys were technically illegally trespassing on the property, they decided that they would keep the discovery of the skull to themselves. However, once they all returned home, Thomas Willits, who was the youngest boy, was incredibly disturbed by their findings, and he decided to confide in his parents about what they had found. Thomas's parents phoned the police about the discovery of the skull, fearing that it could have been the remains of a murder victim.
Yeah, probably.
And the police quickly descended upon the property.
I mean, she was in a tree trunk.
Yeah, so it was, like, hollowed out. So there was, like, a gap where you could, like, someone could have technically gone, like, shoved someone into it.
That's scary.
Yeah. So the police found the skeletal remains in the tree, and they also found some women's clothing scraps and a fake gold wedding ring. However, aside from these findings, they had, like, little to go off of. Like, she had no ID on her, no nothing. So during the 1943 investigation, they, like, kind of started looking into, like, the remains themselves. So the skeleton was in the wych elm, and it was almost entirely complete, aside for a few missing bones, which were assumed to have been, like, taken away by woodland creatures. And then also, like, her hand was outside of, like, the tree.
Oh.
So, like, I think what happened was, like, some animal, like, came and took it. And, like, it was, like, near the tree, but not in it.
Jesus.
So the full skeleton was sent to forensic examiner and pathologist James Webster. And Webster quickly determined that the remains were of a female and that she had been deceased for at least 18 months, putting her death around October of 1941. And he determined that she was about 35 years old when she died. Additionally, the woman had a very distinctive dental pattern since her front teeth were overlapping and she had some missing teeth, which seemed to have been, like, pulled and extracted only a few months before her death.
Huh.
In her mouth, they also found a piece of peach-colored taffeta, which matched the skirt that she had been wearing at the time of her death. And this led the pathologist to believe that she may have been suffocated since there were no signs of, like, blunt force trauma. So, again, kind of like your case, like, they have no idea really how she died. Since her body was also in such an awkward position within the tree trunk, they determined that she had either gone into the trunk when she was still alive or almost directly after someone had put her in there, almost right after she had been killed, because rigor mortis hadn't set in yet by the time that she was in the tree. And even though the woman in the tree had such, like, a distinctive teeth pattern, she was not able to be identified. And the resources in England at the time were depleted due to the war efforts. And back then there were also, like, really limited forensic resources anyway. And the woman was 5 feet tall. She had brown curly hair and pretty distinctive clothing on. However, the description was spread across the country and compared to thousands of other missing persons, yet nothing was found.
That's crazy, though, because she was, like, 18 months in a tree.
Yeah, in a tree. And, like, so even though she was, I'll get into this more later, but, like, even though she was really short, like, they still think it would have been, like, her getting into that tree would have caused, like, injuries.
Yeah.
Because it was not a big opening.
So you think they think she was dead when she went into the tree?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But freshly dead.
Freshly dead.
Also an interesting thing is that they have no idea where her remains are.
What?
Yeah. They got lost. So
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, there can be no more genetic, like current genetic testing on her or anything. They have no idea.
How the fuck do you lose a dead body?
I have no idea.
Are you for real?
Because it was, like, the 1940s in England, there was so much other stuff going on with the war that they were like...
But how do you lose a dead body?
I have no idea. Like, I don't know. Like, there was nothing in any of my resources.
Like, I understand there's a war going on, but shouldn't those... Like, how do you still lose a body? Like...
I don't know. Skeletonized remains, they just got... Like, I don't know.
Like, where are they?
Yeah, so there can be no current research done on them.
What the fuck?
Anyways, so in March of 1944, graffiti was... So this is where the case gets the name. On a high wall in Upper Dean Street, Birmingham, and it read, quote, "Who put Bella down the wych elm? Hagley Wood."
Oh.
So the graffiti was written in chalk and in a high place on the side of a building that would not have been reachable by young children.
Oh, I didn't think a young child wrote that.
Hey, you never know. So they could quickly rule out, like, some, like, little kids, like, messing around. Additionally, apparently months prior to the remains ever being found, there was similar graffiti in a nearby town on a house that read, "Who put Lubella down the wych elm?"
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's freaky.
Which was in the same handwriting as the other message. And these messages kind of put a name to the unknown remains, either Bella or Lubella, and this guided police to look for missing women by that name and to put word out to the community about, like, if you know someone named Bella or Lubella who went missing, like, 18 months ago, let us know.
Jeez.
And they investigated, like, a few leads, but none of them led to anything further. And there were also some other messages written in the same hand after this, like, big, memorable one, but they didn't lead to anything further. So, going back to the writing, in 1953, they actually found the dude who did this graffiti.
Oh.
However, they determined that he had nothing to do with the case, and he had no valuable insider information.
What the fuck was he doing?
Yeah, he was just a quack. Like, they literally, like, had been looking for years for this woman, Lubella or Bella, and he was just making it up.
What the fuck?
And, like, it makes me wonder, like, how was he writing stuff before they even found her body?
Yeah, that freaks me out a little bit.
I don't know.
Like, maybe he found her body, but way before, and just didn't report it, and was just like, who put the girl in the
actually, no, I'm so dumb. I just looked back at the timeline. The big who put Bella down the wych elm, Hagley Wood, happened in March of 1944, and he did the other writing I talked about, who put Lubella down the wych elm, just a few months before that. So they had actually found her.
Oh, okay, got it.
So never mind. That was me just almost creating, like, something that
still
didn't
a
make
quack,
sense.
but...
Yeah, he did it for no reason.
Gotcha.
So,
that's stupid.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I have a few theories I would like to go over.
Oh.
So, the first one is that her death occurred during one of the era's air raids. So the woman may have, like, went into the woods to seek safety when she heard the siren for the air raid.
I have such a
which
fear
is
of air
terrifying.
raids. When I was a kid, I thought this was, like, a thing that happened because have you ever seen the sequel to Peter Pan?
Yeah.
And you have?
They, like, hide under the desks.
Oh my god. Wait,
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be such a niche thing.
No,
I did not
no,
know.
I've seen it, and I've also seen, in, what is that called? What is the one where they, like, go through the cupboard? Not the cupboard, the chest of drawers.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I can't remember what it is.
No, I know what you're talking about.
But they have the same thing.
I've, like, seen that too. As a kid, I saw it a lot in movies, and I was so scared. Like, I, like, thought air raids were just, like, gonna happen.
I mean, it's scary.
Like, I didn't understand, like, the whole historical context of those movies. Like,
yeah.
Like, I just remember them going into, like, the, like, what is that thing? Like, outside. It was like a
like
storm
a bunker?
shelter. Yeah. It was scary.
Scary. So they think two things could have happened during this, like, her going into the woods. So either, once she got into the woods, she was either attacked and strangled to death by someone who then put her into the tree.
Jesus.
And the sirens would have then muffled her screams and could have led her friends or family to assume that she had just died in the air raid.
Oh my god.
Or she somehow, like, stuffed herself into the tree's cavity, which would have caused physical harm regardless of her height, in hopes to hide. However, she got stuck and then died in the tree.
Jeez.
Both of those are absolutely horrific. And that would also make sense why she didn't have ID on her. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. The next thing, witchy shit? Question mark? So the woman in the tree could have been used as, like, a human sacrifice in a practice of black magic. Additionally, Hagley Wood was notoriously known to have been rumored as a place where covens of witches congregated.
Huh.
So you never know. Maybe that was, like, a woman trying to connect with nature, and she, like, went into the tree to do some meditation and then got stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wearing that outfit, like, with the, like,
yeah, she was
skirt.
fitted up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that's... I honestly think that the air raid one is kind of plausible.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then my last one, the foreign spy theory.
Oh, I feel like this is going to be insane.
So, a letter was sent to a newspaper which claimed that the sender knew the identity of the woman found in the tree and her killer.
Oh.
So, a letter was written by this lady named Anna. And in the letter, she states that they will never uncover the truth about the woman, who the woman was and who killed her, because the person who had killed her had, quote-unquote, died insane in 1942.
Oh.
She also explained that the reason for the murder had nothing to do with the occult or the supernatural, and that also the victim was Dutch and had arrived illegally in the country.
Huh.
So, this letter had been signed
Wouldn't they have been able to determine she was Dutch? No?
I don't think at this point they could, because, like, obviously they didn't have all the genetic testing and stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. And then they later, like, found this Anna lady, and her name is actually Una Mossop.
Oh.
So she claimed that her husband, Jack Mossop, was an Air Force pilot who had been caught up in a spy ring. So Una said that the woman found in the tree was actually a spy who had been tasked to look for intel about where future air raids should strike in England.
Interesting.
And apparently Jack Mossop had been working with another spy named Van Ralt. And there are two theories here. So one, that they had all had a night of drinking and the woman had gotten too intoxicated and they put her in a tree for a funny joke and she died.
That doesn't make sense.
No.
I'm not buying that one.
A second theory was that they were all driving and then Van Ralt strangled the woman and put her in the tree after a disagreement.
Huh.
After, like, a spy disagreement.
Is there anything to substantiate that?
No, there's not. And there are also, like, a bunch of, like, some spy-adjacent theories that were proposed by this English author named Donald McCormick, who, like, went to, like, after he found out that this woman was Dutch, he, like, traveled to the Netherlands and, like, went on this, like, wild goose chase about this woman and found, like, a bunch of weird things. But honestly, we would be here all day if I got into them. Like, they were, like, insane. Like, just absolutely crazy. So, research them if you're fascinated by the spy theories. Again, that author's name is Donald McCormick. Yeah. But I mean, like, when I think about this case, I honestly feel like the most likely thing is that she went into the woods during the air raids.
That's just so scary to me. I don't know.
Which is terrifying.
I'm really freaked out by air raids and,
like maybe she was
spaces.
being chased by someone and she went into the tree, or, like, I don't even know.
Or, I mean, it could have just been, like, she was, like, on a walk. Like, those boys were wandering around over
Yeah.
there. She could have been wandering around over there, heard the air raids coming, and thought that was, like, a good place to hide.
Yeah, or, like, my dumbass, I would just sit in a tree like that for fun.
Yeah, you would.
I'm not even lying. Like, I have a scar on my arm from in high school. I was walking through the halls with one of my friends, and she dared me that I couldn't fit into a locker. And I knew I could, so I went into a locker, and I sat in a locker. And when I was getting out of it, I, like, scraped my arm.
Ow.
And I still have a scar from it.
So you went into a locker more than once in high school, because you went in during mock trial one time.
Yeah.
I have a picture of you in a locker.
No, yeah, I've been in lockers multiple times by my own hand.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so.
Wow. Anyway, these were the deaths of the Christmas doe and the Wych Elm doe. Tune in again next month for another new episode. And in the meantime, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at tgic.podcast.
And buy merch.
Bye!